Hey now. Hello. What's up, everybody across the internet universe? We're back. It's been a hot minute, as the kids would say, but we're here. We're here to talk about a fun topic tonight. I had to do some research as suggested by Christian that we'll get into. Christian, how's it going, man? It's been a while.
It's been a while. I'm happy to be back. We took a week off. I don't not really on purpose, just one of those things where I'm like, okay, it's been a while. But we've got 90 something episodes in the can, so it's amazing.
Was this 97?
96 or 7, yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up, I always got to go back to the last episode and see what the number was so I can remember what this one is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's found footage night.
It's found footage night. Yeah. I had to do some research, man. I did, and we'll get into it we're not doing this as like a ranking or anything like that. It's more or less like, obviously, as you guys see by the title, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
I guess we'll cover that as we get into each. Okay, this is the good, and let's talk about some good ones. And this is the bad. I guess the bad and the ugly would probably be the same thing, but. Yeah, man, anything going on? Any life-shattering events? Any big news?
Not really. I did have a wreck the other day. Glad I'm okay. That sucked. Honestly, it's like I got to go on a mini rant. Like, it's like, guys, it's one thing if you actually, if I was to have gotten hurt in the crash and I would have been physically in pain in the hospital for something, that would be horrible, right? I'm trying to put myself on the other side of that coin. I literally can't imagine living with myself if I hurt somebody because I wasn't paying attention driving. I have to imagine that is even worse of a pain than being in pain. I don't know how I could do it. So, people, please put your fucking phones down when you're driving. Put your podcasts on, listen to it, crank your music. I don't care what you listen to. You could be listening to oral sex noises cranked up to 11 on your car. I don't care. Just please, you have no idea that there are human beings inside of those vehicles, okay? There are lives that have families, and what you do to that one person is going to affect 50 other people, okay? Please pay attention. I don't hold any ill will towards the kids that hit me. They were very apologetic, and I get it. They were caught in a bad moment. They weren't paying attention. For those that don't know, what happened was I was going on a highway, and I needed to turn left. I was going to band practice. There was an 18-wheeler coming the opposite direction. So if you're looking at the road, it's the yellow dots in the middle, right? So it means one side goes this way, one side goes north, the other side goes south or east and west, depending on the geography of the road. And I was turning left. I was at a stop on the highway, waiting for an 18-wheeler to literally pass me so I can make my turn. And it was crazy because as the truck was 20 feet away from where my left turn was, I happened to look up into my dash. I happened to look up into my rear view, and I saw these kids hauling ass. I literally said, here we go. I knew it was coming. Closed my eyes, took a deep breath. My head fucking whacked the top of the car. My energy drink went everywhere. It was not fun. But I'm grateful. I'm fine, and that's all I can ask for. So people, please. But I seriously, I imagine those kids probably the kid driving probably feels a lot worse than me right now. I mean, my back is sore and stuff, but that kid probably hasn't slept since that happened. He's probably just like, I can't believe I almost killed somebody because I wasn't paying attention. So I hope it's a wake up call to him. So that's my rant. Just pay attention, people, please.
Yes. Pay attention while you're driving. Yeah, I don't know. Do you know anybody that listens to oral sex noises cranked up to 11 while they're driving?
You know what, dude? It's a big world we live in.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
It's a big world we live in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I mean, obviously you texted me and you were. I was like, oh well, that sucks. Yeah, man, it's the same way. While we're on the topic, really quick, I got a bone to pick with some of the people that have this thought that I can drive drunk. I know how. I've done it many times. Like, you know, I'm the quote unquote designated drunk driver, that kind of stuff. No. Pay attention while you drive. Don't drive under the influence. We're not trying to turn this into a dare episode or anything like that. We're not the feds. But yeah, you know, you could greatly impact other people's lives. So don't be a selfish dick, I guess. You know.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm usually not one for other people's tea, but the fact of the matter is this is very public on the internet. That Halloween podcast, they had some kind of crazy shit go on that, you know, I think if people don't know about it, they might want to know about it. I mean, it was some crazy shit. And again, this is public. Mm-hmm. We're not digging anything up that's private. So if you want to break that down, because you know more about it than me.
So long story short, guys, Bloody Disgusting, one of their flagship podcasts is Halloweenies. And as you guys know, months back, Christian and I had told you guys that we were going to try to get in touch with them because we thought it'd be cool to maybe have some of them on here or us go on there or whatever. Like, that'd be really cool. And I was actually in touch with one of the co-hosts, Mike Vanderbilt, who actually happens to be at the center of all of this. He's a bartender in Chicago, the south side of Chicago, I guess. And some things came to light. I guess some women made claims that, you know, when they were, and again, like Christian said, this is public. We're not, these are things that were alleged. And I'm just saying allegedly. And for anybody who listens to the podcast, if you don't know what happened, I guess, you know, allegedly some women said allegedly at times when they were drunk or they couldn't get a ride home from the bar or whatever, he would let people come to his house and then try to assault them in the middle of the night. And finally, one woman went to Facebook and she basically told the story. And then that prompted other women to come forward. And he's no longer on the podcast. And I would assume there's going to be a little bit of a shakeup there. And I just say to all of that, you know, good for her, the first person that came forward and wanted to, you know, speak her truth before other people did. And yeah, I mean, you probably shouldn't be engaging in that kind of behavior. So yeah, that's what happened there. If any of you guys didn't know,
did the other people make a statement, or did Bloody Disgusting make a statement?
No, just Halloweenies literally just put out a tweet and said Mike Vanderbilt will no longer be a part of the Halloweenies podcast. And that was it. And then they turned off replies on it. So the reason I found out what happened was because people were quote tweeting it because they couldn't reply. And they were quote tweeting it and putting the link to the Facebook post in there from the woman that came out and like told her story. And then she also gave like an updated post and was like, since I've said something, you know, multiple women have come forward and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, man, yeah, that's shit's fucking nasty, bro.
You women, speak up, please. Speak up, women. Don't put up with none of this bullshit.
No, men, women, whoever you are, if you're a victim of anything like that, harassment, assault, and you feel like there's nobody in your corner, I'm sure you can find somebody online that will keep your story, you know, between the two of you if you want it to. I know there are crisis hotlines. I know that we all have at least a friend or a family member. Like, always speak up. Don't be afraid. I know it's easier said than done, but coming from somebody that comes, you know, from a background of experiencing those kind of things in my life and with my family, I can tell you from experience, there is literally always an avenue out there, and you don't have to be afraid of these people because they, you know, they can say like, oh, if you tell anyone I'll do this or that, what are you going to do behind bars? You know? Yeah. Speak up.
Yeah. I gotta get these goddamn creeps out of here, man. Allegedly. Like I said, we don't know what's what, but allegedly, supposedly, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We ain't trying to get sued.
No. Any other business? What's going on with you before we get going?
You know, mowed my yard. Watched a couple found footage, maybe just the past few days that I hadn't seen.
Nice.
I decided I was getting feedback on my last upload last week about horror sequels, particularly number 2s that I felt were better than the original. People wanted more, so I posted another one tonight, and people were like, "You should keep doing this." So I think I'm going to do stuff like that. You know, maybe a series of Sequels I find better, remakes I find better, stuff like that. I think that's really cool. People seem to like that. I'm sure you probably haven't gotten around to it yet, but I think you'll like this one. I put some in there that I know you agree with. One of them being Phantasm 2. I can't believe I didn't put that on my first one, but again, it's not a list. It's not like a top 10, no, it's just 10 that I think are better. So
good deal. Yeah. Are there any more CHH gifs or memes in there in this one?
Not in this one. No, because any one that I mentioned, I'm pretty sure you probably agree with most of them, man. Like now that I'm thinking about it, there was none that when I said it, I was like, oh, Christian would give me pushback on this. No, I don't think so. It is funny though. Did you hear about the first test screening for Exorcist Believer?
Yeah. People are throwing fucking tomatoes at the screen.
Yeah, I just want to say really quick to that, because I did talk to somebody who attended the screening, and I'm not going to give like details and stuff like that, but it's vastly overblown. Like what you're seeing online, like websites are writing these articles that are making it sound like everybody was like, "Boo, fuck this turd." No, people weren't saying it was bad. People were saying it's not scary enough and it's too long. That's the big complaint. Like, but he did tell me, and it pretty much, and you can see these websites talk about it too. There's apparently one jump scare in the movie that got like everyone agrees is like a great jump scare. But yeah, the general sentiment is that it's not scary enough and it's too long. So I would assume reshoots are about to take place.
Jesus Christ, dude! I'm even more anxious to see this thing now.
I'll tell you what, man. I did see a tweet earlier that was kind of interesting to me. Although I don't agree on a surface level,
Mm-hmm.
I do want to see more Exorcist movies. I'm a sucker for Tubular Bells, and I want to see it on the big screen. So whatever, sue me. But somebody made a tweet that was like, I didn't have a problem with Blumhouse touching Halloween, but The Exorcist is just, it just seems like you're going to fail no matter what. And he explained it further in a follow-up tweet. And he was like, The Exorcist was a phenomenon for its time that literally brought together a filmmaker and a writer that were like diametrically opposed and put this, I mean, initially like ideology-wise, I guess, and it was just a phenomenon. It was lightning in a bottle. Like you couldn't, you're just never going to replicate it. And although Exorcist 3 is great, it's great for being a very different movie. It doesn't try to be The Exorcist. So if you're trying to make just a follow-up to The Exorcist, I do agree that at face value, you probably go, I don't know. It just seems like it's just not going to work. And I'm excited for it. I hope it's good. I know it's not going to touch the heights of the original or 3 probably for that matter, but I hope it's good. I hope they do some reshoots, make it a little scarier, make it a little shorter. It doesn't need to be like 2.5 hours long, especially because this is a trilogy. But yeah.
See, for me, I think if you're going to really redo The Exorcist, scary isn't good enough. I think you really have to really fuck with people's emotions, like really fuck with their emotions, make them think that God is nothing, he's completely powerless to the devil, we're all fucked, we're all alone. I think the movie needs, if you're gonna do it, that would be the first thing I would say to David Gordon Green and them. Unless you make me question everything about my existence on this planet, don't even bother. That's literally what I would say to them.
I mean, and I know you agree, we both prefer House of a Thousand Corpses, but one of the things that sticks out to me about Devil's Rejects is that feeling. You're watching these people get brutalized by this trio of people, and they're almost like laughing in God's face, basically. Like Otis says, I'm here to do the devil's work, and like no one's stopping them. Like they just keep getting away with these heinous things, and it makes you, as someone, if you are a person of faith, even mildly, you watch that and you're like, and we deal with this in real life with shootings and all these things that happen in this country all the time. You're just like, it makes you question sometimes, like, how can this shit happen? Like, how can this shit be allowed to happen? So no, I mean, make a movie like that. Like, basically like, where is your God now type stuff. Yeah.
I look, I haven't seen the movie, obviously. If I was a betting man, okay, I think unless you resurrect William Peter Blatty from the grave, this is not gonna be a great movie. I just don't think so. I'd love to be wrong, Nick. I'm usually really optimistic, but like everybody else is saying, this is the fucking Exorcist.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
As much as I love Halloween,
This is a different animal.
it doesn't compare. Yeah, everybody knows The Exorcist. Everybody. That was the possession movie. Every possession movie since then has wanted to be The Exorcist, and none of them are. Like
Right.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know. We'll see, dude. It's gonna be. I'm so fucking anxious to see it. I guess you could say excited because it's literally like a blind date. What the fuck is she gonna look like?
yeah.
That's what it feels.
I
like.
will say the one thing that makes me not like it. It doesn't. I'm glad I'm not hearing out of it. It's a piece of shit. It's garbage. It's terribly made. It's terribly written and acted. No, you're just hearing like, well, it's not scaring me, and it's too fucking long. Like, okay, but that doesn't mean it's a piece of shit. Like, you might walk away from the movie and be like, totally unnecessary, but not awful. And there's plenty of movies like that. So,
I will see, man. We'll whatever happens, guys. I'm sure we'll keep you up to date on it. That's the latest. On the
yeah. What do you think about Beetlejuice 2 finally moving forward?
A lot of people are kind of like over Jenna Ortega already, but I'm still down with her being in that movie.
Yeah,
I like Jenna. I don't know. I like her. I think she's got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't believe it took this long to make a sequel. I mean, I just genuinely, and it's not one of those movies that. There are movies where you go, that movie doesn't need a sequel. Beetlejuice, there's a lot of lore there. There's a lot you could tap into. I would have loved to see more movies out of there. Michael Keaton's great in the role. I don't know why we never got more. I mean, Tim Burton, I get it. He busy guy, likes to do a lot of different things. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. It is. I know. I'm sure you saw. I saw you liked Piz's post on Instagram. I was actually talking to somebody about this earlier today. That's a little in the know. That's the holdup for Scream 7. Is it's not even really radio silence anymore. It's Jenna Ortega. She's in really high demand, and she's busy like the rest of this year. And apparently Paramount wants to start shooting by October, and her schedule does not look like it's going to allow it. So they're having to decide, what do we do? Do we reduce her to a bit role? And so we only need her for a day or two of shooting or something like that, or do we just move on without her? I do not think you can move on without her entirely. You can't. She's been one of the main characters in the last two movies. You literally can't just go, yeah, she went off to wherever the fuck. Like, no, you can't do that.
You can't. I mean, I agree. I really think they're gonna wait, but I don't know. They moved on without what's her face, so never say never, I guess. But I think they're gonna wait. I think they're gonna be like, okay, let's see what we can do with her.
I think this is actually for the best, honestly, because I think it's going to, if forcing Paramount to wait, and you and I both know Paramount, they want to pump sequels out when they're making money. That's what they love to do. But forcing Paramount to wait maybe a year to go into production will probably allow them to get radio silence back too. And that'll be cool, to keep the team together. I really liked the last movie a lot. So why fuck with a good thing? If you got to wait a year, wait a year. I mean, who cares?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think they'll wait for sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't. You got to imagine she had she had something to do with the success of 6. I mean, at least like you can't just be like, oh well, she doesn't have anything to do. I think that's ignorant. I mean, she's the biggest star in the movie in terms of actual real life. She's the biggest star of all those other cast. So,
Yeah, the fact that this one made like 30 some odd million more than the last one, that's not the rule of sequels, horror sequels at least, guys. So, her star power definitely has something to do with that.
For sure. So we'll see.
What do we I mean, I guess we can just tee it off right away, guys. You read the title. Christian made a post the other day about what we were doing. We were shooting ideas back and forth. Because Christian was like, do you have any ideas? And I'm like, I thought you'd never ask. I mean, I'm kidding, obviously, but
excuse me.
I got a bunch of ideas of things we haven't done, and I was listing stuff off. And shout out to Rudy, he was giving me some ideas too, as a listener, somebody that things they'd like to see and hear. And Christian immediately gravitated toward the found footage idea, and I don't know why we'd never done it, because I know. you're kind of a shill for found footage, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I know you like a lot of found footage, and
No, I'm a chill.
I'm a pretty big fan of found footage too. So I was like, how have we never done this? Like, I don't know.
Well, where do you think you want to start? Because there's
The
a lot.
good, the good. Let's start with the good.
Okay, start with the good. Some recent stuff that comes to mind that I'm down with. There's two movies that are good, not great. We can say what we think maybe the greatest are after this. Two movies I really like are The Taking of Deborah Logan
Mm-hmm.
and The Visit, the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I like both of those movies too. I will say I saw a tweet going around the other day that was like, it said something to the effect of like, words can't express what I felt in this moment. And it's from The Taking of Deborah Logan, where that chick's like eating. Yeah, that shit was like, what the fuck? Yeah, I watched that. It was funny. Years ago, I was hanging out with a girl and she came over and I was like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, I want to show you this movie. And I think it was on Netflix at the time and I can't remember. And
It was, because that's probably exactly when I saw it.
yeah,
I
it
remember
was,
watching it on Netflix.
I was living, yeah, it was about 7, 8 years ago. And
2015, 2016-ish.
yeah. And
Yeah, that's when I saw it.
she's like, it's really fucking freaky. And I was like, okay, whatever. We're probably not going to watch it anyway. No, I ended up watching it because I enjoyed it. Yeah, that movie's good. The Visit is a good recent Shyamalan. I mean, you've been watching Shyamalan, his newest ones. I haven't. I still haven't seen Old or Knock at the Cabin. You said they're both pretty bad. But The Visit I do like. I do, especially when you get the reveal with all the dirty diapers and stuff. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I think the grandma is a star of that movie. She's freaky as hell. I don't know. I really get sucked into found footage to a fault. And this is my problem. And I have no problem admitting it. I really, 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 really get lost in them. I do. And I believe it. Like, it's like wrestling to me, right? Like when you like it so much, you truly want to believe, WCW versus like the NWO is real, or, Stone Cold versus McMahon. Like, they really hate each other. And I get sucked into found footage like that so bad. And that grandma, man, she had me hook, line, and sinker in that movie. And when you see her crawling, I think it's like, well, maybe the second or first or second night. I can't remember which night it was, when they're sleeping in bed. And you hear the broad like making all these noises downstairs. And the kid opens the door and has the camera going down. And then you see her crawl, come back, and come up the stairs right to the door. And he shuts the door. That shit freaked me the fuck out the first time I saw it. And I don't know. There's part of me that feels like I'm totally on an island, or a lot of people are just being badasses and saying, oh, that shit didn't bother me. I don't know how that shit can't bother you. Or when she's under the crawl space in the front of the house and they're playing like, I don't know, like tag under there, and they're crawling under there.
Dude, yeah.
That shit freaked me out, man.
No, and I feel like scares in found footage movies are honestly way more effective because you as the viewer live vicariously through them, and it just seems less, obviously, Hollywood and less manufactured. So like, yeah, those scares. I mean, while we're talking about it, let's just get right into one that I've just watched recently. I know you saw what I thought of it. I didn't get in depth with you. Hell House LLC. I thought I had seen it. I think maybe I've seen one of the sequels because I had not seen this movie. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. Honestly, though, and I want to hear you talk about it because I know you said you're a pretty big fan of it. I was liking it a lot. Like, this was like a 4.5 star movie for me until the third act. And I just felt like it didn't deliver for me, man. Like, it really didn't. The shit that's really good in that movie, and I mean really good, is the buildup. Like the scenes of like, you see something walking through the hallway at night while the dude's doing his video diary on the fucking the camera, and you're like, what the fuck was that thing? Or you get the moment where the dude's in the hallway with the strobe lights and you start to see them like coming towards him and he's like, what, you guys are fucking with me? Like, that type of stuff. I'm watching this during the daytime, mind you. And I'm like, this is pretty effective. Like, this is pretty creepy. And then the end was just like, I also felt it was kind of rushed. Like, the third act was like very like bang, bang. Like, as soon as the people come into the house, couple people die, or shit goes haywire, and then we pick up in present day with the other chick. But I mean, I
Right.
don't know. What are your thoughts?
I hear you on the ending, but to me, it's like you were saying, it's so good. To me, it's so fucking scary that I forgive the ending just being subpar. Because the moment where you hear my favorite kind of found footage, I should say, is faux documentary. That's my favorite kind of stuff. So when they're interviewing the guy in the beginning, this is my favorite moment of the film. As cheesy as it is, when God, I want to watch this movie again now. There's a moment where, and I have a funny story about Hell House LLC I want to tell. The moment where they're interviewing the photographer, the newspaper photography guy, and he says he was going through the house taking pictures after the fact, right? This is after everything's gone down. And he says, and I opened up that door and I snapped a few shots and I looked at it, and he's like, I've been to a lot of places, seen some scary shit. There was no way I was going down those stairs. That shit.
Mm-hmm.
I asked my wife, the hair, she saw the hair on the back of my neck stand up when he said that, because I get so sucked into that stuff and I love it. But what's really great about Hell House LLC is that really quaint little piano piece. It's not really a
Oh
soundtrack.
yeah, Hector
It
with Hector. Yeah.
Dude, that little piano piece, dun, 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 it's so creepy. All right, there's two moments in this that truly fucked me hard in the ass. I mean, they really just disturbed me. One of them was when you see the clown standing up,
Yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then the camera goes back, and then you look back, and then the clown's looking at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
That shit terrified me the first time I saw it. And then I was like, I don't think anything in this movie is going to scare me that bad again. I seriously didn't think anything would, until the guy's doing a video diary of himself in his bed at night.
Which time though? Where the girl's against the wall, or where you see that one? Yeah.
When he finally lifts the covers up for the third time, and let me see if I can do it. She's got those white eyes. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God. When he lifts up the blanket the second time, and where she initially looks at him and starts to move just that little bit,
Yeah.
that's the moment where I just fucking lost it. That was even scarier than when she's close up with the eyes. But when she initially finally turns and looks, and you see her move and the blanket goes back up, those are two of the scariest found footage moments I think I've ever seen. Ever. I
Dude, yeah.
love Hell House LLC. I mean, the ending is the weakest part, but to me, I can forgive it. I really
Well,
can.
yeah,
You know what
I
I
gotta
mean?
no, yeah, and I gotta say, I think that that's some of the best acting I've seen in a found footage movie. Like, and I mean that. I didn't recognize any of those people at all, and I'll
Right.
tell you what, I was like, damn, they really sold me. Like they really did. I really liked the actors. I really liked Phil, the cameraman. I did not like his fate. I haven't, maybe I have seen one of the sequels. Maybe that's what I was thinking of, but I really can't remember. How are they? I mean, have you seen both?
I've seen both, and it would be weird if you did, because they're all legitimately a three-part story. Like, they actually made a story out of the three of them. Two is good, three is okay. Two has some good clown moments, but unequivocally, part one is the best. It's not even a question to me. Part one is absolutely the best out of the three.
Isn't that a
But
cool idea too?
it is a cool idea, and it's really cool that they actually tell a genuine story. And
Yeah.
the ending is bizarre. I don't want to say it out loud, but they tell a legitimate story. Um, two has some pretty damn good pretty good moments in it. But um, I wanted to say this is the creepiest, weirdest shit that happened. The singer from my old punk band was into horror, and he said, "Christian, you got to check out this found footage movie I found. It's called Hell House, and it's really good." And I was just like, And he's like, "No, seriously, watch it." Because, like, some people, you just, even if you like them, you don't always trust their recommendation because you kind of know what their taste is. So I remember
Yeah.
when he told me, I was just kind of like, okay. And he was like, "Did you watch it? Did you watch it?" I was like, "No, I didn't watch it." He goes, "Fucking watch it. Like, here's $5." He gave me a $5 bill. Rent it from Amazon, because I remember he rented it for a few bucks. I don't even think it was Prime or anything. He's just here's rent the goddamn movie. So I did. I rented it, and I loved it. And it was Christmas time. It was like in late November, early December. And this was the most bizarre, coincidental thing in the world. I never talked about this on my YouTube channel at this point either. So it I remember for a second, I convinced myself somebody who I bought this from was just watching my YouTube channel, heard me talk about it, and they somehow recognized my name on eBay when I bought something. So for Christmas, I remember I was going to get him the Silent Night, Deadly Night Scream Factory Blu-ray. That's what I was going to get him for Christmas that year, 2017. I go on eBay and I ordered it for him. This is before I was really even like using Amazon for anything. I could have just primed it, but I wasn't using Amazon yet. I ordered the Blu-ray on eBay. It comes into my house, and he lived near me, so I was going to bring it to him for his Christmas present. The box felt a little heavy that I got it that I had in it. I was like, let me see what's in here because I was like going to check it. I opened it up. I shit you not, and I have it till this day. It's on my DVD shelf. In that case was the Silent Night, Deadly Night Blu-ray, and as God is my witness, I never said a word about this on my YouTube channel. The Hell House LLC DVD was in there, and it freaked me out so much because I remember as soon as I opened it, I started looking around my fucking house like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy. If I hadn't seen the movie, it would have been like, oh, the guy just threw a DVD at me. But it was actually Hell House, and I literally just watched it and ordered this present for my friend for Christmas. And this guy, now I realize is completely coincidental because I messaged the guy on eBay afterwards. He just says, I usually throw in a DVD to people. I remember I hit him up afterwards. I usually just throw in a DVD to people when they order Blu-rays from me. But the fact that it was actually Hell LLC was fucking crazy. And I remember being freaked out because the movie scared the shit out of me first time I saw it. So I get the DVD. It's like I opened the box at like 9:00 at night. I'm looking around my fucking house. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Sydney was even like, this is bizarre. Like, how did we get that DVD? So that I'll always remember when I look at that DVD, getting it because I bought my friend a present. And this guy literally just randomly throws in this DVD of this movie I've never heard of and just saw in the box. It's just the craziest thing. It freaked me out for some reason. But I still got that DVD. And this is before it became like a hit. It really was. I'm not trying to sound cool, but like, dude, nobody was talking about Hell House LLC in 2017. Now, because it got on Shudder and people are watching it, that's awesome. It's not like I'm, trying to say I'm Mr. Cool, but I just remember I was telling people about it. I remember telling Piz and guys, but they never heard of it. Nobody heard of it. And it had been out since 2000, like, I don't know, maybe a year or two before that. I think the movie takes place in 2009. But I don't think the movie had been out a couple years. But like, dude, nobody had seen it.
It came out in 2013.
Like you go, like even still, like, dude, nobody was talking about this thing. My buddy just happened to just watch it because he's a found footage junkie too, and he was just like, I'm just gonna try to find one. So he watched that one too. So I'm glad that it's taken off and it's got a big fan base now. And I kind of wonder if I'll ever do another one. The ending's pretty definitive on the third one, but if the demand's there, I think they might do it. But I love it. It's one of my favorite modern day found footage movies now.
Yeah, no,
Still creeps me out when I watch it too.
Yeah, I dug it a lot. I really did. I mean, man, there's been times. I mean, I guess let's just go back and forth here. Let's go back and forth. Let's not stay in one category too long. There's been times where I've sat down to watch a found footage movie and I've been like, why? In the ugly category, we have The Gallows. I saw that movie in theaters, and I remember walking out of the theater with my buddy Dave, and I looked at him, and I said, that was probably like the worst movie I've ever seen. Like, I genuinely think that movie is a piece of shit. And then not in the ugly. Well, no, it's probably in the ugly. Yeah, it's in the ugly. I'm sorry, Christian. Christian was giving me some suggestions, and I watched this movie on Tubi today called Hate Crime. I don't know, man. I'd love to hear you talk about it some and what you thought about it, because not only is it really tough to watch, and I know that's the point. The filmmaker, I read a little bit about it. He's Jewish, and he wanted to put forth like nightmares that he has living, sometimes worrying about like the heinous things that could happen to him and his people, and those atrocities are very real. But to see it played out on screen and so over the top, it not only was it unpleasant just because of the subject matter, but like I felt like the acting was like total doo doo. The effects were bad, but that I mean there wasn't even really many of them. Man, I get it. It's like a low budget, and the ending just really left me like you could have at least given one of the characters a hero moment.
I
And
love that they don't give a hero moment. I love it.
yeah,
I hate
I
hero
guess
moments.
I
I
guess
love
that's
it.
the point.
I love it when I love it when movies just say "fuck you, audience."
I
And
wanted to see
I'm
those dudes die. I wanted to see them die.
of course you did. I just I love finding these movies that completely say "fuck you" to the audience. I do. I do. And I try to tell everybody to watch these movies, and I love it when they have your reaction because that's the point. That's literally the point. Like I get it. It's not like I watch hate crime when I want to get my fix of just like a fun movie. Dude, I want people to see that there are movies out there like this. That doesn't mean you have to like them, but they're out there. And to experience them, dude, that movie made you feel something. You just said it. That's why I wanted you to see it. It made you feel a type of way.
Dude,
That's the point.
it's fucked like beyond belief. Like the some of the things that take place in that movie. And let me just say, I mean, you guys know this. I'm not a fucking prude and I am not a softie when it comes to movies. I will watch I mean, I'll watch pretty much anything, and I get cinema is cinema. Like it's not real, and it's escapism, and it's a lot of it is metaphor and symbolism, and it's trying to elicit a reaction from you. So you're not going to see me like picketing that hate crime deserves to be banned from the world and never shown again. No, but my God, dude, I was just like in the first 15 minutes of that movie there's so much screaming and yelling and crying and I'm just like oh my god like I'm not even kidding you. I remember sitting there at one point and my face was literally this. I was like
But see, here's the truth, dude. Hate crime is there is a sub genre of found footage it's not even whispered about. Honestly, like I'm kind of breaking a rule talking about hate crime. I really am because like I guarantee you never even heard of this thing before I mentioned it to you. These kinds of movies are not even whispered about. They're like banned. They're
yeah, it
like
was banned like everywhere. I read that on Wikipedia and the filmmaker was pissed because he said it was censorship and I guess in a way it is, but
because it's not real. But like, dude, like somebody, I guarantee you, somebody watching this right now is like, "What the fuck is this thing that they're talking about?"
and they're going to go watch it on Tubi and they're going to say you guys are fucking sick, but I'm not advocating for it.
But see, there's these movies exist and I'm educating people and I want them to see it to feel a type of way. I think it's healthy to feel fucking enraged sometimes and then you can get it out in a positive way, whether it be playing music or running or exercising or lifting weights. Dude, this movie will piss you off. And I'm not talking, oh, the effects were bad. I'm talking make you fucking irate. That's
Yeah,
something to me. I'm
you're
not saying
right.
I would ever make a movie like that, but dude, these movies exist. And guess what? Guess who's talking about them right now on a horror movie podcast? Fucking nobody. We are. We are.
We are giving a platform
To hate crime.
oh god, someone's gonna clip that. um Look, yeah, and you're right. It elicits the reaction that the filmmaker wants to elicit. It's not the like you said, yeah, like of course the effects aren't good, the acting isn't very good, but that's not the point. The filmmaker just wanted you to feel something, and you do feel something. And if you are a person with a heart, you you feel enraged and disgusted and a whole lot of things. It is not a movie I'll ever watch again. But I have seen it. It was between that or Mr. Jones, and I chose that.
I
So
love that movie too. We do need to see that still. But you know what this makes me want to talk about? Another movie that has the same kind of effect, which is Megan is Missing.
oh dude, dude. I've seen that movie one time and it is fucked. I
You know,
mean,
I talked to the director of the movie back in 20 again, I'm not trying to sound like Mr. Cool. I swear I'm not. My wife will vouch for me because she saw the explosion of this movie on TikTok and everything. And she was like, Christian, remember that movie you saw years ago where literally there wasn't even a review of it up on YouTube yet. I was like, which movie is that? Remember the one about the girl in the barrel? I was like, Megan is missing. She goes, oh, it's all over TikTok. It's like people think it's real. It's people are freaking out. And I was like, oh, so people are finally seeing that thing. Dude, I watched that movie. And here's the thing. I watched that movie late at night one night, scrolling on Netflix. The poster is a ripoff of Paranormal Activity, except it's a shade of red, right? And Megan is Missing is in the Paranormal Activity font. So I remember seeing the poster for it as I'm scrolling through Netflix. I'm like, oh, this is a found footage movie. Megan is Missing. I like that. That movie, the ending of that movie is fucking crazy. Let's just break it down for the audience. You know, if you haven't seen the movie, you've heard about it. The movie is a PSA for talking to strangers on the internet. Let's just get that out right now. That's what the movie is about. And before I get too sidetracked, I want to say, I will tell you this. The director, I believe he was an Asian gentleman, or is. He's still alive. He is a cinematographer, and he's worked on a lot of movies. He made this movie, and I remember I reached out to him after I saw it. I just reached out to him on Facebook or whatever. I forget his name. And I said, hey, man, I saw your movie, and that was really intense. Like, I was like, what inspired you to make this? Because I've never seen anything like it. This is way before I've even heard of hate crime. I don't even know if hate crime had come out yet. And he was like, it's not a horror movie. I remember reading that, and I was like, I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about? He goes, it's not a horror movie. It's a PSA. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then he said, the movie is the most intense way for me to tell kids, you have no idea who's typing back to you. You think you do. You don't. This is not a horror movie. This is a PSA for parents. And it's like literally like the most intense, like, what do you call it? Like tough love you can give a kid. Like, could you imagine, like, as a parent forcing your child to watch this because you found them talking to somebody on the internet? Like, I had a 15-year-old daughter, and let's say she's legitimately talking to somebody on the internet that you have no fucking clue who this is. And they're talking about meeting up and shit. Like, as a parent, do you say, watch this fucking movie? Somebody has. I guarantee you somebody's done it. You know?
Yeah. No, I saw that movie one time, and yeah. It's not. I don't think I'll ever revisit that movie. It's a good movie. I will put that out there. It's an effective movie. I think it is. I do think if you have the stomach for it, I do think everybody should see it because it is important. But it's tough. Like, it's a tough watch. Really is.
I mean, what's the worst part of it to you? Spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen it, this movie's been out for fucking years. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but honestly, dude, I kind of don't want. I want people to see it. I want people to see it, but I will say vaguely, anything to do with like sexual abuse like that, I don't know. That shit, yeah. Especially with how heinous it is like really hard to stomach. Like, it's just like, holy fuck. Like, yeah, it's a lot, guys. Like, if you haven't seen it and I'm kind of trying to tiptoe around it because, like, it's not fun to talk about, and I also don't want to ruin it for you. I want you guys to see it because I do feel like it's important. But yes, if you have the stomach, be warned. Do not think that Christian and I are telling you this is like Paranormal Activity and, oh, it's so spooky, like you should watch it. No, it'll fuck you up. Like, it will fuck you up.
Without spoiling anything, I'll tell you what the scariest part is for me. You ready?
Go for it.
I need you to keep your eyes closed and get in this barrel because I don't want you to know where I live. My heart was beating out of my chest the first time I saw that. Beating out of my chest.
Yeah, Brooke watched that movie when she was a teenager. And it was funny because when we first got together, we were talking about some like movies that really fucked us up, and I hadn't seen it yet. And she was like, I saw this movie called Megan is Missing, and I watched it by myself. And she was like, it made me like bawl my eyes out. It was the hardest movie I've ever watched in my life. Like, I was like, I have to watch this movie. And she's like, I'm not watching that with you. I will never watch that movie again. And I was like, it can't be that bad. And after it was over, like I remember just sitting on my couch and being like, what the fuck? Like there's movies like that. And Hate Crime is one of those movies too. When it's over that you're just like,
Which one do you think is worse?
Megan is Missing, I think personally.
You think so?
Yeah, I partially because I feel like it's a not. I don't know if realistic. I would realistic. Not saying that hate crime can't happen. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just I feel like the lengths that they go to in hate crime, some of it's a little over the top. Where I'm like, could it happen? Yes, but is it super likely to be like this? Maybe not.
Right.
But Megan is Missing. Yeah, that can happen to a teenage girl every day in America, and does happen. And yeah,
I guess we could stay on the good for now.
yeah, we talked about that.
I have another one I can bring up. My all-time favorite Ty West film, The Sacrament.
I'm surprised that's your favorite Ty West. I mean, I dig it. I don't think he has a bad movie, but it's the only one of his that isn't horror, and I think that's why you like it so much.
I mean, it is what it is. I can understand you saying it's not horror, but dude, the movie's it's scary shit to me. And the guy
Jim
that plays
Jones
Jim
type
Jones
shit, yeah,
is I thought that old man was great.
He's like John Goodman.
He is. He has. Yeah. I just think The Sacrament's just outstanding. And again, this is probably like my second favorite subgenre. Like not slashers. Like everybody loves slashers. Like me, it's just like, yeah, I like them. But favorite subgenre? Absolutely not. I think a great found footage movie is just fucking. There's nothing like it, and it's interesting that found footage is really relegated to just horror. There's no found footage comedy films.
No.
There's mockumentaries.
Although I would love to see The Hangover as a found footage. I thought just see all the shit they did that night. That would have been hilarious. But
yeah,
no,
I don't know. The Sacrament's my favorite movie for him, dude. I think it's outstanding, and I think if there is a Ty West movie people might not have seen, it would be The Sacrament because it is found footage.
It was the only one I hadn't seen until a few months ago. So yeah, you're absolutely right. If there's one that you haven't seen, it's probably The Sacrament, but I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu. I think that's where I watched it. Well, I mean, I'll throw out one that I think is great, that at the time that it came out, it did not do well at the box office. It did not get good reviews, and people shat on it. And it seems like now,
I know what you're going to say.
All of a sudden, people are starting to like it. You already know it's As Above, So Below.
Mm-hmm.
That movie fucking rules. Like, rules. My buddy Phil, not a big horror guy, not a big movie guy at all. You guys, producer Phil from, back when I rebranded my channel. I showed him As Above, So Below when we lived together. I was like, I think you'll like it a lot because it really does make you think. It's not like straight up horror. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's deeper than that. And dude, he fucking loved that movie to the point where he was like, I was showing it to buddies when they'd come to my house. I showed it to my brother. Like, He loved it. And we still talk about it, like about how great that movie is. And it's like, this whole like Philosopher's Stone shit and like being in like hell. And the part in that movie that fucked me up more than anything, there's two scenes. One, obviously, when they're like looking through like the like opening in the rocks and these people are like chanting or whatever. And then the chick just like fucking turns around and looks at her. And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
But the freakiest part in that fucking movie is when they're down in like the lowest layer of fucking hell. And you see that thing just fucking like it's I can't remember. It's like floating or some shit. It's like a fucking face and it like turns and looks at them and they're like, oh my God. And they freak out and start running from it. Dude, that movie fucking rules. Like it rules so hard. I love that movie.
Yeah, it took me a while to warm up to As Above, So Below, but I'm on the train now for that one. I used to have a vendetta against bigger budgeted Hollywood found footage movies. I felt it was counterproductive or counterintuitive to what the genre is.
I hear you, but I think in that movie it makes sense because obviously, like, this is a production, like she's going down into the catacombs, like she wants to have like, she's an intelligent person. She's, probably looks like she's got a really promising career, and she wants to get really good footage and have this be a documentary, like a high quality type thing. So it makes sense in that movie. But like, yeah, in Paranormal Activity, if they had like a fucking, $3,000 camera, you'd be like, okay, what the fuck? But yeah, no, dude, I love that movie so much. And I just remember, like, I think the thing that fucked with me so much about that movie personally was like wondering how much of that could actually be true. You know what I mean? Like, could you go into like hell almost, like by searching for this thing? Could you go so far down and just get lost? I mean,
it's not something that I would ever want to do. I can tell you that.
oh, dude, fuck no. The claustrophobia alone, being down there, and especially when it seems like they're like going in, not in circles, but it's very akin to the Descent. Like, right. It really makes me feel that way when I watch that movie.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm on the train now. It took me a while, but I think it was just my vendetta against big budget stuff like that, and like Cloverfield, for instance, was probably the one I had the biggest vendetta against. But I got the 4K of that a while back, and
Cloverfield or As Above?
As Above, it was Cloverfield. As Above just has a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Which it's funny because I got the 4K for Cloverfield. I was like, why did I buy this? But because it's a big budget found footage movie, like they use nice camera equipment, so it actually looks really good on 4K. But I like that movie, Cloverfield. I don't love it.
I put 10 Cloverfield Lane on my list today as better than the first one.
Oh, without question. Oh yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane is just fucking amazing. I wish that was found footage. Quite frankly, if we could talk about it more, but. Dude, yeah, John Goodman was fuck it. I'll just say it, like John Goodman was outstanding, and they talk about my hometown in that movie, which is just bizarre to me. If you watch the movie, people can figure it out. They watch it.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, dude, you've got to see that fucking movie. That movie is, you don't even need the connection to Cloverfield. Like, just being where they are with John Goodman giving the performance he is fucking scary enough. And that's what the movie initially was. It was called The Cellar. And then J.J. Abrams' company was obviously behind it, and Abrams and them were basically like, what if we tie this into Cloverfield also? And they're like, okay, screw it. So that's why you get the ending you do, but it didn't even need that. I mean, that movie, just with its basic premise, is awesome.
Right. Yeah, John fantastic.
Oh, yeah. But give me a bad one. Give me one that you're like, fuck this.
The House is October Built 2 and Creep 2, I think, are both fucking garbage.
I have not seen The House is October Built, although I do own it. First one's
good. Yeah, it's really fun. House October Built, it's a really charming premise. It's a group of friends that do haunted house attractions, and they document it, and they basically get part of a thing that they think is an attraction, kind of, but it's not. But the second one, I literally can't even talk a shred about it without divulging the plot, but it's just really stupid. That's one of my vendettas, is House is October Built 2. And the first one I say is good. I wouldn't even say the first one is great, but it's charming. It's good. There's a lot of creepy stuff in it, but fun creepy, not really scare you. But that's part 2 is one I think is just a literal steaming pile of shit.
Okay,
I can give you more. I can give you more.
I will. I'll steer clear from that.
No, I'm saying I can give you more that I think are.
Oh yeah,
too. Like I said, Creep 2. I have no problem saying it. I think Creep 1 is awesome, and Creep 2 literally does not need to exist. The cat's out of the bag. This guy's a fucking psychopath. And then part 2 is draggy. Nothing fun happens the way the first one did. I think it's pitiful. I really don't like Creep 2 at all. Love the first one. No point for the second one. I just thought it was trash. Which may be unpopular to say, because that guy was great. I loved him in Creep. But 2 was just like, what are we doing here? Like, the cat's out of the bag. We're literally just making this because people love the first one. They should have done a brand new Creep story, in my opinion, anthology style. They didn't do that. That's how I feel.
Well, I mean, I we're obviously talking about found footage. I'm curious to find. I've never really picked your brain that much about Paranormal Activity as a whole. I know you're a pretty big fan of the first three, and I know that some of them have a soft spot for you, but I think 4 is garbage, and I think the Ghost Dimension is garbage.
Dude, I swear to God, I have a good time with Ghost Dimension. I do. I like Ghost Dimension. I think it's way better than 4. I really do. I'm not saying it's the best one by a country mile. I think Ghost Dimension is way better than 4. 4 is really lame. There's literally nothing that 4 does inventive. Nothing. Nada. Besides Xbox Connects. But Ghost Dimension, you see this motherfucker throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Like this figure. And it's fun. And I would bet money it'd be the most exhilarating 3D movie. I do. I like the house that it's in. I really don't hate the characters in it. I'm not saying it's on the level of 1 through 3. I don't think Ghost Dimension is trash, though. I really don't. And it sucks because, dude, it was select theaters. It like did half the country. I mean, not literally half the country, but like they didn't do 3,000 theaters opening weekend. So I didn't even get to see Ghost Dimension. It literally didn't come to me within like a 90-mile radius. So I had to wait for DVD like a chump to see it.
Well, I mean,
That's my take.
I saw it one time. I was not a fan of it. But I wasn't a fan, but I can tell you.
Has it been a long time?
Oh, yeah. It's been since right after it came out.
Okay, that's fine. Dude, literally, I'm telling you, you need to go back and revisit it again. Don't binge the series. Literally, just go back and watch it. Because time, I think, has been good to Ghost Dimension. I do, because it actually does different stuff. Fun stuff for visuals. Maybe not story, whatever. And there's like 3 different endings. One of them, you see like this naked dude's foot at the end. I don't know what that was about, but it was like the camera's like in a basement and it's shaking, and you hear this foot come into frame, and you see it just go right in the front of the camera. But I don't know. I had it because this came out last year. Yep. The DVD box set, and I remember me and Sydney, we always pick a franchise to do for Halloween, and the past year was Paranormal Activity because of this. And I remember we watched Ghost Dimension. We were like, that really wasn't that bad. So I don't know. I like Ghost Dimension. It's great, but I'm saying I like it, man.
I'll give it another try, but I will say this with 100% certainty: I think 4 is trash. But I do think the marked ones is a little underrated. I do.
100%. People weren't ready for that. No, I take that back. People were burnt out, so they weren't ready for it because they were burnt out. So they didn't care. They didn't care when that one came out. My favorite thing is Justin's review. He shredded a ticket. Now he loves it. Fucking crawfish. Love you, Justin.
Well,
but that's the But that reaction, Nick, was census back then. A lot of people were just like, But that movie did everything different. Different fucking culture, different setting. The Simon Says thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Marked Ones was a fucking ball and a biscuit.
What is your favorite found footage movie?
Cannibal Holocaust, without question.
Okay.
Which we can't talk about yet, can we?
No, we have to do an episode on it. We promised.
I know we do.
But
besides that, you want me to give you another one that we can discuss? Without question, the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care how cliche it is. I mean, it's a part of me.
Yeah,
it's a part of me. You know what I mean?
But it's cliche because it's that good and was that groundbreaking. Yeah. So
to me, it's The Exorcist of found footage.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Question. Yeah,
like that movie. My favorite part of the Blair Witch too. It's not really the shit hitting the fan. It's the initial moments where they start getting tense. Right when they start getting tense. Remember when the guy's having his meltdown, laughing, and he's like,
mm-hmm.
"Where's the map? I kicked that fucker down the creek." Like he's having that heinous laugh. That's when I'm uneasy. When they're mad at each other and they're unraveling. When shit starts hitting the fan, that's one thing. But it's when you're in trouble and now we can't rely on each other. That's when I feel the anxiety.
When I first saw that movie when I was a kid, my buddies, we rented it and we watched it in their basement at night, and we were of the belief that it was real. So like we went into it with that, which a lot of people were. I believe opening weekend they polled people. I read a story. Over 40% of people they polled in the audience believed it was real. So a
Right.
lot of people believed it was real, and yeah, I still remember the genuine like body reaction and revulsion I had when you have the scene in the middle of the night when they're hearing stuff outside the tent and you hear these like giggles and these sticks cracking and stuff, and then they just fucking freak out and run out in the middle of the
Run.
woods. And I'm thinking to myself, I would not have gotten out of that tent. I don't give a fuck if there's something out there. You can come in here because I'm not going out in the dark ass woods after hearing that. I'm not doing it. Like, and I just remember when I first saw that, the giggle still just like it'll be forever in my brain. That little giggle you hear, I'm just like, oh no, dude, no.
The house was creepy as shit. Like, there's no denying that too. And I loved Heather was the character's name, right? The girl.
Mm-hmm.
She was great. She was so good. There's a really sad story though with that. I feel horrible saying this, and I hope that it's not like this for every convention that they're at. I really don't. My first Texas Frightmare in 2014, the Blair Witch Trio were there. Heather was in the middle table, and to the left and right of her were the two guys. I didn't care to get any of their autographs really, but I was walking past that aisle where the three of them were. Heather had a modest little line, and the two guys left and right, just kind of hands on the table, just standing there. And it was really awkward because the one that kicks the map down the creek, that guy, we made eye contact, and he was just like, and I just went, just kind of buried my head down. I felt horrible for those guys, maybe they've burned themselves out on the circuit. This was almost 10 fucking years ago, mind you. I can't believe 2013 is almost 10 years ago. But I just remember that being really sad. But naturally, I can understand Heather getting all the attention. I can't.
Yeah, well, the three of them, I famously have not really done much acting, like since. So I mean, you're being known for, and nowadays, like this generation, what they're after. The Blair Witch Project isn't something a lot of people that are, younger than mid to late 20s have an affection for. I mean, it really isn't, which is sad because I feel like you could show that to kids nowadays and it would be effective. Like I really do. But I do think part of the charm of that movie was people wondering if it was real. I really do think that was part of the charm.
Yeah, they went the extra mile too, because I remember seeing the Sticks and Stones documentary, and it was a faux documentary, about the family members explaining what happened and blah blah blah. And it's on the Laserdisc too, which that was one of the last movies to get a Laserdisc. But in '99 was Blair Witch. I have that. But you had to have been there. It's kind of like I was explaining to a coworker that's early 20s the importance of American Idiot. And they're like, I don't see what the big deal is. And I said, you really don't understand the cultural significance that American Idiot had on the world in 2004. I mean, it really, it changed the world. That record was so big. Green Day they will never be able to do that again. That it changed pop culture. Literally there are records that happen in the music world, like Thriller is one. Hysteria is another one. Nirvana's Nevermind. There are records that literally change culture. American Idiot was one of those records. And unless you were there, it's really hard to understand. Thriller's so big, I don't care. you understand it. But American Idiot changed culture. And I think Blair Witch is the same thing. If you really weren't there, if you weren't alive, because my parents used to say, no. I remember as a little kid, I would see the VHS tape, and the VHS tape just the cover scared the shit out of me. I remember my mom and dad being like, no, we don't mess around with that real stuff. They said real. I remember it. So that instinctively put like fear in my heart when you heard the Blair Witch Project. You thought it was real. So I really do think you had to have been there in a sense before you unequivocally knew it wasn't real. It was just a different. It was a different era. It was a different time, and maybe it's nostalgia goggles that I have because of that. But that's besides Cannibal Holocaust, I have no problem saying my cliche answer is the Blair Witch Project. It's my favorite.
I mean, yeah, I honestly would probably go the same. And I know I don't know if I'm in the minority. I guess I'm in the vocal minority because a lot of people don't really sing its praises. But the 2016 Blair Witch, I really like too, and that's also found footage, and I really like that movie. Um, it's not as good as the Blair Witch Project. It's just a fact, and there's was it necessary? No, but like I did really enjoy that movie, and I think that it did some things to separate itself enough from the original to be to be inventive in ways. Like I like the drone stuff. I like how we actually got to see physical manifestations of some things in that movie. Like there was a little bit of questions answered, like how once you stay overnight, the witch basically has you, and there's no sense of time. You'll walk in circles. You'll never get out. Like that basically becomes the rule of thumb. If you spend the night in those woods, you're done. Like you'll never get out. And I thought that was really, really cool and creepy. And also that shit, there was so much unanswered. And I remember Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett, the director and writer of the movie, they said on their commentary. I don't know if you've ever listened to that commentary, but it's pretty salty. Because they were really proud of the movie and it didn't do super well. I mean, it made its budget back, but it did not do what they thought it was going to. And they literally were talking about questions they've been asked during the commentary, and they're like, "You'll never get the answer because you guys didn't go see the movie." Not enough people went and saw the movie, so you're never going to get these answers. Like, maybe you should have gone and seen the movie. Like, it's like there's some sour grapes in there on that commentary. But one of those things that I wanted answers to was when that chick cuts her foot and then there's like something burrowed inside of her leg, like growing and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? We're never going to know. Although there is a new Blair Witch movie that's actually going to start filming this summer. They just announced it the other day. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it won't be connected to the one that most recently came out. But I do really enjoy that movie. And I felt like it was inventive enough to justify its existence. So
I saw that in the theater. I remember going. I was super, 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 super excited because I remember there was a lot of buzz at some kind of film festival or something. It was a surprise trailer. Like there was
yeah,
this creepy trailer, and at the very end of it, this tree all of a sudden morphed into the Blair Witch Cross, and
yep.
people were freaking out.
It was called The Woods.
The Woods. I'm surprised it didn't make money. I really am. I didn't know that. I just figured they got it all out in one movie. I remember there being some cool stuff in that one. I remember really liking what wasn't some of the kids like crawling through like disgusting like mud holes
that's
in front of them and stuff. And
that's one thing I'll give 2016 over the original. I think that the third act of 2016 is better than the third act of the original. Having said that, though, the original is a far better movie because everything else is better in the original. The build up, the suspense, it's terrifying. But the third act, if anybody complains about the Blair Witch Project, they always complain about the ending in the third act.
I love the ending. Him staring at the corner. Oh, that's shit.
Yeah, I'm not against it either. But if people have complaints, they do complain about that. But the third act of the 2016 movie is a fucking nightmare, dude. You get her crawling through those tunnels and there's something behind her and it's coming for her and she gets stuck because she's hyperventilating. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is fucked. Like, there's so much about that third act that is just so awesome.
Yeah, I got to rewatch that one again. I remember I have the Blu-ray. I've seen it a number of times. I never hated it. Never once hated it. I'm sure I was always a fan of it. But it's probably been a number of years. Probably 2-3 before COVID for sure.
I'm gonna tee you up because I know there's gonna be one that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet, and I enjoyed it, but I was not over the moon about it, and you were the one that got me to watch it, and I know you love it. So why don't you talk a little bit about the Poughkeepsie tapes?
Poughkeepsie
tapes.
Poughkeepsie, New York.
Yes. I've just never been.
It's one of my favorite styles. That mockumentary again, I think it's cruel. The camera stuff is like really faux and worn, and the guy who does the stuff wears those creepy plague doctor masks and crawls into the rooms and puts those white face masks on his victims and hides in the closets. Um, I'm probably guilty of building it up for people because I love it so much, but I think it's an extremely important found footage film that was also buried for a number of years. It was buried for a number of years, and I don't think it got an official release until Scream Factory put it out. I saw it before then because I think Sydney, I don't know, torrented it or something when I was wanting to try to see it, and I loved it. But I don't know. Apparently, you weren't as hot on it, so you know, it is what it is. But I'm a massive fan of Poughkeepsie tapes.
Okay, I'll tell you the reason why is because from you talking about it and Alexis and people that I know in this kind of area and I was getting vibes from how people were talking about it of the Blair Witch Project, of Megan is Missing, movies that the first time you see them, found footage movies, the first time you see them, that really like deeply fuck you up. And I guess maybe it's part of just the fact that we're kind of desensitized to a lot nowadays, that like it didn't really mess me up. But I will say the end, like almost the very end, when he kills the girl or whatever, and then he comes in crawling on his hands and shit and has the mask, like that shit was fucking freaky. Like that, I remember seeing him coming in the room, and at first you're trying to like, how is he contorting his body? Like, where's his head? Like, you're trying to understand where everything is. And once you get it, you're like, oh, what the fuck? And it's just he's so deliberate with it. And it's just, yeah, no, that was freaky. Like, I will give you that.
Again, my favorite moment of the movie. I get chills when he says it. I am such a sucker for the faux documentary stuff. When they're interviewing the detective, and he goes, "Now, when this movie gets released, we know he can't help himself. He's going to be in one of those theaters, and we're going to be watching for him." I'm also convinced that the Poughkeepsie Tapes killer was in that this investigative class. He was in that class. I'm convinced of it. He was in that class. I think it might have even been that guy that was answering the questions really good. There was a guy that was answering the questions well in the class to the teacher. The killer was in that classroom.
I can't remember the ending. Is it resolved? Did they find him?
Of course not. That's why I'm saying.
Okay,
we know he's going to be in the theater, and we're going to be. He can't help himself. Kind of like the BTK. Like he can't help himself, and we're going to be watching him.
Yeah, they're. Yeah.
So, I love it. I mean, again, dude, I saw this movie again 7-8 years ago. This movie came out in like 2007, but it got buried. Like, dude, no, like it got the company that produced, like, was going to put it out, saw the final cut, and they're like, we can't fucking release this. Are you kidding me? Like, you got to think, like, dude, at that time, no. But I think it's really important. I think it's a legendary found footage movie. I do. I love it.
I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm not poo pooing it. I enjoyed it. Trying to think of some other ones we haven't talked about. I think we've hit a lot of the big,
I got more I can name. Like one of my all-time favorites. I don't know if you've seen this. If not, go out of your way to watch son of a bitch. I just had it. Grave Encounters. Have you seen Grave Encounters?
Yes, I have. I've seen 1 and 2. Yeah.
Two is actually not horrible, but 1 is where the magic's at.
Yeah, no, 1. I watched that in the middle of the night by myself years ago. That was freaky. Yeah.
You know what the best part is too? The best part to me is when they finally decide we've got to bust the fucking door down. It's 6 a.m. We've got to bust the door down, and they finally get it open. And it's, instead of it being outside, it's the dark hallway. I was like, oh fuck.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a little silly when he's eating the rat at the end, right? Like, but dude, that movie takes you for a ride.
Aren't Mike and Jay from We Watched a Movie and Grave Encounters too?
Yeah, because there's like a YouTube thing that they used for a bunch of people reviewing the movie, and
Uh-huh.
they took little snippets. Because I remember Cool Duder is in it when he was big and fat. You know, I remember that, so I wouldn't be surprised if Mike and Jay were in it as well. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've talked about how they were in it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
yeah, they're good movies. I like. Two's not bad, but like again, all the magic is clearly in one. Um, of course, I would love to talk about VHS, specifically VHS 2.
Yes.
Have you seen all of them, 94 and 99?
I saw I started watching 94, but I haven't finished it. I believe I'm watching that on Shutter, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's on Shutter.
Yeah.
Um, but
Shutter 94 and 99 are Shutter exclusives.
yes, yeah. VHS, I enjoy the first one. I don't think all the segments are super strong, but I think overall it's pretty good. VHS 2 was another one I put on my list of my video today. I think is hands down the best one. I think every segment in VHS 2 is great, especially I know a lot of people really love Safe Haven and stuff. Nah, dude, mine is the fucking alien one. That one fucked me up.
Remind me, because I'm so invested in the cult at the end. Remind me about the alien one, because I remember the zombie
It's
one
like
was really fun.
it's like I think it's an older sister watching her younger brother and his friend or whatever, and her boyfriend comes over, and shit goes down, the power goes out or whatever, and the boyfriend grabs her dad's like shotgun and gets attacked in the hallway, and then it's all with the camera on top of the dog like throughout the entire sequence. And they like go out to
Yeah,
the barn and like they get fucking abducted and shit. Like, yeah, dude, that shit fucked me up. Like,
that was good. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I love that one. VHS Viral is a fucking dog turd. I think that movie sucks. There's just no passion there at all. I really do, it's crazy because VHS 2. I remember when that came out. A lot of people were talking about that movie. A lot of people agreed it was really good. You
right.
would think there'd be more money and more care behind a sequel to that movie, and there just wasn't. And it showed. I think that movie's a turd. But so far, what I've seen of '94, although I haven't finished it, I do like it. It is definitely a step up from Viral, and I don't know anything about '99.
I like 99. I think it's the same as 94. There are some good segments and some not good segments. 94 has a pretty weak ending. I don't like it. But did you see the funeral one in 94?
Um,
I guess not.
yeah, uh, maybe I don't fucking know. I don't even know how far I got into it. It's literally like on my Shutter that I need to just continue watching. I was
That's
watching it.
fine.
My son woke up from a nap, so and
That's
didn't.
cool. I'll save it. But the funeral segment, it's the middle segment in VHS 94. I think is the best one, far and away the best one.
What's your favorite VHS movie? Is it two?
Oh yeah, yeah. Anybody not saying that is on cocaine, meth, crack.
Although I will say though that the one segment in the first movie, the "I Like You" one, that one is pretty good. I did not see that shit coming.
Yeah, it was good. What about the movie Host? That was a big deal during the pandemic too. The people that made the seance
Yep.
horror, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't huge on it, and I feel like I was literally messaging somebody about this the other day because we were talking about found footage because they knew we were doing this topic, and I said, for me, I I either love a found footage movie or I can just like totally do without it. And if I love one, I'm gonna talk about it. But like,
Right.
I do feel like there's a lot. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I like that it was an hour.
Yeah,
Um,
that is nice. Yes.
it was just a great time waster. It had some fun jump scares, but it's not a movie you really just rewatch that often because it's kind of like the cat's out of the bag after you see
Mhm.
it. Which is this for a found footage movie to have rewatch value is really difficult, I think. That doesn't mean that I think the movie's bad if I just see it once. I'm like, well, I can't watch that again. Like for instance, The Village. I think The Village is still creepy to me, even though I know what's what. Um,
That movie pisses me off now.
not The Village. What am I saying? I'm talking
The
about
Visit.
The Visit,
Yeah.
not The Village. But I don't think Host is one I would rewatch. But like a movie that I think has really fun rewatch value, even though I can't explain it, is Dark Web. I can rewatch that one once a year.
Unfriended.
Yeah, Unfriended and both of them, Unfriended and Unfriended Dark Web, which I think I like Dark Web more than the first one. To be honest with you,
Dark
I
Web
love
was
Dark
interesting,
Web.
man, because it wasn't horror so much anymore. Like it was more real world shit, which I thought was cool. Like I really did think that was cool because, like you said, like with Unfriended, like do we really want to do the same thing over again? Like no. And I liked Unfriended for what it was, but yeah, Dark Web is solid. It really is. And I saw a lot of people shit on that movie when it came out, and I don't see it. I dig it. I think it's
No, I
solid.
think it's fun, and I'm fascinated about the actual stuff like related to the Dark Web. Unfriended, it's funny when that girl shits her pants. Like it's just like it's so bizarre to see in the movie, you know. I'm trying to think of some other shitty ones.
I have
Oh,
some.
dude, I have one that I remember seeing and oh, I tell you what movie's really fucking good.
Okay. I
The
thought we were
Last Exorcism.
I was gonna ask you what you thought of that one.
I saw it
I
in the
liked
theater.
that one, but the sequel I think sucks.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't own The Last Exorcism, but I own The Last Exorcism 2. I got it at my game exchange place, and I never saw it. And I was like, damn, man, this ain't it.
No.
I love the first one. That movie like got me because I was like, what the fuck is going on? You know, was this girl really just schizophrenic? And so they made the I thought it was brilliant how they made like all the simulations of a demonic possession and shit with
Mm-hmm.
the iPads and the speakers under the bed. I was like, oh my god, this is brilliant. Um, but yeah, that movie is great. I love The Last Exorcism. The theater I remember people were screaming, hollering in the theater for that.
Well,
So
yeah,
that was really
because
fun.
it flipped the exorcism tropes and shit on its head, like, and that was cool. While at the end of the day, still being like, yeah, this is about a fucking demon, satanic cult and shit. But I liked how we got from point A to point B in that movie. But yeah, the second one, man, I did really like the first one, so I was interested in the second one. I didn't see it in theaters. If it even went to theaters, I can't remember, but I did. I streamed it a few years ago, and I was like, this is dog shit. Like it's just yeah, not good.
Yeah. Another one that I don't like. I saw the movie. I know I hated it. I guess it is found footage. I don't remember it being found footage, but I remember I walked out of the theater. The Devil Inside. Do you remember that movie?
Don't even get me started. That movie fucking sucks.
Doesn't she say like connect the dots, connect the dots, connect the dots?
Dude, yeah, and I blind bought that movie at Walmart for $5 on DVD years ago.
I get your
I
money
just
back.
blind bought it. I'm looking at the fucker on my shelf right now. Like I have it on the bottom shelf with the movies I never watch. Like that's how I organize. People do alphabetical shit like that. No, the higher up you are, the more I watch you. The lower you are, I could give two shits, and it's on the bottom shelf. That movie fucking sucks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Um, I know I love this movie. I think you say you're just kind of so. Let me guess. You're a Session 9 fan, but you're not a Lake Mungo fan. Am I right?
I do. I quite like Session 9, but Christian, I still have not seen Lake Mungo.
Please see that. To me, Lake Mungo is a film that it's just like Session 9. You either love it or you don't. I don't. I want to love Session 9.
I know, but you
I've
can't get
bought it
behind it.
twice. I can't get whatever it is. The veil cannot get lifted off of me to see what people are seeing in it. But Lake Mungo gets into my bones. You have to watch Lake Mungo in a pitch black room by yourself. No phone, no bullshit. I mean, just it gets in my fucking bones how good Lake Mungo is. That's one of my favorites. Also one of my favorites is Searching, John Cho. That movie was fucking amazing.
That's the first one, and then which one is it?
Missing
Missing.
is the one that just came out,
Yeah,
which I liked Missing, but
yeah,
Searching I thought was fucking fantastic.
yeah. Searching was awesome, and I remember, and that is one of those movies too. I know you were talking earlier about like fuck a hero moment. I love the end of that movie. I did like the resolution there. That was because there are certain movies where I do agree. It's like I don't need the hero moment. I don't need the everything's gonna be okay. But in a movie like that, it's like I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys if you haven't seen it. But it's like a lot of the shit that the character goes through is so undeserved that it's really nice to have some resolution and not just leave shit hanging. I sometimes in movies I feel like movies need that, and that was a movie that needed that.
I mean, it's so easy to get behind John Cho too. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? He's got that likability. Um, but I want to go on record right now and say Jason Blum is a jackass. Next of Kin is better than half of the goddamn movies he's making right now. So he needs to get his head out of his ass because he had a director that had a goddamn opinion on something, whether he liked it or not. Next of Kin is not bad even remotely. So suck on that, Jason Blum. I'm sorry, because then he got pissy and said
He's
shitty stuff about the movie because the director didn't said something he didn't like. Get
Yeah,
over yourself.
he because he was asked about there was a I guess a rumor at one point that there was a new Paranormal Activity movie in development, and he was like giving an interview to Variety or something. I think it was during doing press for Halloween. I can't remember. And they
I'm
were
sure
like,
it
"Oh,
was.
is that true? You know, is there a new one in development?" And he was like, "No. Did you see the last one? It was terrible." So
Idiot.
yeah,
That's just ridiculous. Get out of here.
yeah, no, he's kind of becoming a douche. Like
Yeah.
I did like him years ago. I really did. I liked him when he was like Blumhouse was kind of fresh on the scene and they were willing to give money to pretty much any up and comer, like, you know, and they were pumping out these low budget horror movies that were making a good amount of money, and now he's becoming like I don't know, it's like his head's too big.
Mr. Big Shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another movie I love, and it's funny because while I was watching this movie, the whole time I was like, "This is just ridiculous." But then the ending, it was like an eye opener. Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but I do remember liking that movie. Funny story about that movie. For some reason, I always thought it was going to be an origin story to Jim Carrey's The Mask when I was younger. Don't know why. Just I guess by the title, it's most certainly not. But yeah, yeah.
I love that movie, and the guy who plays Leslie Vernon, I forget his name, but he's great in that. And that there's a theory that the the old man in The Rise of Leslie Vernon, the guy that Neil something, I think is the actor's name. Let me see, because I want to get this right. Cast. Nathan Basel. Nathan Bassell, Nathan Basel plays Leslie Vernon, whatever you want to call it. There is like yeah, Scott Wilson is like plays an older serial killer in the movie that Nathan Basel like learns from. And in the movie, there's a lot of people that think that that's supposed to be the killer Billy from Black Christmas.
Oh shit.
That's what people say. Um, I don't know if it's true. Of course, it's just fan theories, but you know. But yeah, I love The Rise of Leslie Vernon. There was a movie called The Den that I really like. I don't know if you've seen that.
I don't think
Den
so.
was really good. It's about this girl who gets this job, like as like she gets this online kind of job, and she does all kinds of work online, and like her computer gets hacked, and the person hacking her computer starts recording on her computer without her knowing it. And there was this crazy moment. Well, I'll save it. The Den is really good. Troll Hunter is one of the only times a foreign found footage movie has captivated me. It's amazing. It's from 2010. There's a Blu-ray for it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi, and it's actually free on YouTube right now. It's free on Pluto and Sling and Vudu and Crackle and Plex. They want you to watch Troll Hunter. It is fucking amazing, really. Troll Hunter is like this hunting group, literally hunting trolls. It's like massive Bigfoot monsters, and I was like, I'll try this. This is probably silly. It was insane. Troll Hunter is really, really fucking good. Um, so yeah, there's that. It's funny because I'm looking at this list right now on Google, and there are so many found footage movies I want to see. There is one called The Lost Footage of Leah Sullivan that looks really great. I haven't seen this,
No.
but the plot sounds really good. Um, what else do we have? I'm just kind of looking through a giant list. Let's see. Oh, Devil's Due. That's a good one. That's from 2014. Devil's Due is really fucking good. The Bay. I loved The Bay. I don't know if you've seen that, where the town gets the murky water, and it's like the water is just poisoned, and people that in this small town they start drinking from it, they all turn into zombies,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the fish are getting eaten by these like disgusting creatures.
Mhm.
There's one called Digging Up the Marrow that Adam Green directed. I fucking love Digging Up the Marrow.
These are all
That's really
horror,
good.
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think
Okay.
that there's any genre besides horror that does found footage. Um, just trying to see if there's anything big that we haven't brought up yet.
I don't think so. I think we hammered all the ones that most people know about.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see.
Um, there's some I need to still see, like Dash Cam, and there's one called Amber Alert. I've been dying to see. I've been dying to see it. It's always been hard to watch because I can't find it. I can tell you a shitty one. I don't know if you've seen this. It's called The Collingswood Story. It's fucking trash. Nothing happens. It's from
No, I haven't.
2002, so it was right after the Blair Witch came out, really. And it's just terrible. I fucking hate it. Um, Antrim was a movie that like people were all talking about when that came out. I really liked Antrim, but everybody hates that movie.
I've been told not to watch it.
I liked it a lot. It's very
No,
set.
not. I've been told not to watch it because I guess there's like some kind of like curse or whatever with that movie.
Like in the movie, yeah, it's supposed to be a curse. Like if you watch it, you die. But
Yeah.
surprise, I'm still here. Um, I don't know. I think that's gonna be about it. We've covered a lot. Devil's Pass is fucking outstanding, outstanding. But there's still so much I need to see. Spree, I haven't seen that. There's a movie called Mockingbird, Area 51. I want to check out. And these are all recent films, 2014, 2015. Dashcam, that was a Blumhouse movie, and honestly, I heard a lot of people say it was a steaming sack of shit. And I'm looking at some reviews right now, and it's not pretty. So
Like
yeah,
I said, man, found footage goes one way or the other. There's most of the time, there are some exceptions, but most of the time, there's really no in between. It either works or it really doesn't work.
right. No, man, but I think when it works, it's like there's nothing like it. So it's one of my favorite subgenres. It's my second favorite. Um, I really can't like I'm telling you, you need to go out of your way to see this. Nobody talks about Mr. Jones. This is a really, really awesome found footage movie. Um, and it's got really good acting in it, quite frankly. But yeah, this is a great movie. I love Mr. Jones. Nobody talks about that one. It's literally just like this to me. It's like it's this hidden gem, but I constantly bring it up. And it's hard to find people that have seen it, but it's weird because it's not a low budget thing. It's actually like a nicely made found footage film. So I mean, I don't know where it's streaming. Let's see. Maybe I can
I
see and people can find it.
thought it was on Tubi or Pluto. I think it's on one of the
No, it's on
two.
Tubi. It's on
Yeah.
both, and it's on Amazon Prime, Tubi. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can do that and not even watch commercials. But yeah, check out Mr. Jones. I think it's awesome. I really do. It's one of the better ones, quite frankly.
I was going to watch two of the recommendations you sent me tonight before we started, but because I had to mow my yard, I only got to do one. And I was
Yeah, it's
actually
all good.
deciding between.
Well, next time we film, you can talk about whatever that you saw. We can follow up on it.
I'm deciding which one to do, either Troll Hunter or Mr. Jones.
Troll Hunter. Troll Hunter's fucking. I'm telling you, dude. The second I started watching, I was like, ugh, foreign language and subtitles. But then I was like, oh my god, this is really, really, really good. So, but they're both good. I mean, I really do like both of them a lot. Those are two, I think, classics. So,
Well, yeah, I mean that's a first for us. We really got in depth with the found footage subgenre, and I know there's probably some people that listened all the way through, or maybe didn't because Like we said, man, found footage is either for you or it's not. And I'll never understand people that's that don't that don't think it has any merit. I'll never understand that. If it's not for you because you have motion sickness or whatever it might be, like I get that. But like to poo-poo something because it's found footage, just simply because it's found footage, I feel like it's fucking cornball shit. Like I don't know.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. It's a highly criticized subgenre, that's for sure. Highly criticized. Um, One other one I want to mention, and this is on Shutter too. I loved it. It was called Deadstream. That was really good.
I've been hearing, yeah, I believe people were talking about that last year.
Super entertaining. Yeah, it came out last year.
Yep. Yeah, I need to get around to that one too. But like, yeah, I mean, it's found footage, man. You never know what you're gonna get. It's like sometimes I'm worried because I'm like, oh god, like please don't suck.
Yeah, but dude, when
Um,
when you watch that one, when you just look for it like that, and you just like right now, I was just searching as we're talking about it. Like there are 4 or 5 of them that I was just like, I've never even heard of that. I can't wait to watch it, dude. Sometimes that's the ones that'll just fuck you, like Hell House. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, they don't get a lot of coverage. Not a lot of people know about them, and sometimes there's a reason for that. Sometimes it's because they're pretty fucked up.
like hate crime.
Yeah, like hate crime. I'm gonna go on the record, guys, and say I am not advocating for that movie. But if you want to watch it, it's on Tubi.
But see, I like it when you watch movies like that, dude. It's fun. Like I liked like the Skinamarink episode. I like doing this kind of stuff where we get to like, dude, there's bizarre cinema out there. I mean, truly bizarre cinema. And dude, this shit will round you out. Saying this kind of stuff, I love it. You
Yeah,
know,
don't get started on the Skinamarink talk. You'll have Jaden in the comments talking about it. I don't even know. I mean, if you would technically call that found footage, no, but like it's similar in ways. Yeah,
I
that
would just call
movie.
I would just call it footage.
Yeah, that's the movie.
It's footage. Um,
Uh,
it's getting a Blu-ray too.
yeah,
The only way I would get it is if it came with a documentary, and I mean a real documentary. Like whoever made it, I want to hear their story. That'd be the only way I would buy it.
yeah. So we'd set the camera on the ground and walk away, and then we'd prop it up and point it at the ceiling, and then walk away, and it was a great shoot, and
That'd be funny if like you hear the interviewer like, "So what was your plan with Skinamarink?" There was no plan.
that's honestly just like my household. Like I just
There is no plan.
yeah. Oh man, an hour and 40 minutes of my life I'll never get back. I
Oh
was
man.
genuinely mad watching it as it kept going because I was like, I have to watch this for the podcast, and this fucking blows. It's so boring. Like, uh
And that was Skinamarink.
yeah. So thanks for watching this episode
Oh,
of
wait up. Oh my
Skinamarink,
god, dude.
guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. The McPherson tapes. How have I not brought this up? Have you seen this is like from 80, this is from 89. It's kind of like that. It's a found footage movie. Not a lot of younger people have seen it for sure, but like this was before Blair Witch everything, and it's an alien invasion found footage movie. I fucking love it. Let me see if the McPherson tapes, because I want you to add this to your
No,
list.
I'm pretty sure. Oh God, I know the name. Like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, the McPherson tapes, and I'm trying to remember if I've seen it.
On Pluto, just in case. It's free on Pluto TV. Uh, it's a movie. It's very charming, but the acting is really good for found footage too. And this was 89, man. So this is alien invasion stuff. Uh, really creepy shit.
Isn't
So
Would you consider the Legend of Boggy Creek? Is that found footage? You've seen it, right?
yeah, I don't know.
I like
That's a
that one
fine
though.
line.
I like that one.
Let me see what Google puts it as when I look it up. Um, It just says horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would because it's documentary style. That's why I'm saying, I guess I would throw it into that.
Yeah, if you guys haven't checked that out, I mean, do
Dude, I haven't
so.
watched that in a long time. My dad loves this movie too.
I stumbled upon that when I was a kid because I was like obsessed with like Bigfoot and Mothman and
Dude, holy shit, there's a sequel, Boggy Creek 2 and the Legend Continues from
I didn't know that.
1985. After receiving a report from the local sheriff of a strange sighting in a region, an Arkansas professor takes 3 of his students to Texarkana to track the legendary 400-pound Boggy Creek beast. I didn't know there was a part 2. Fuck me.
Me neither. Can you watch it anywhere?
It's on Tubi.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's on Tubi, Pluto, Sling, and Roku. Dude, Tubi is the best.
Yeah, and it's like you get like what? 3 commercial breaks. It's whatever. Tubi. Yeah.
So there we go. Now I knew something was wrong. I got to talk about the McPherson tapes, guys. This is like a legendary found footage film. Legendary. So now I feel like I've got it all in my system. I kept feeling I was forgetting something. So
damn near 2-hour episode on found footage.
Yeah, remember I got to cut out about 15 minutes. So
no, maybe not. It was like 10, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, starting at the 36-minute mark, you should be entertained. But yeah, no, this was fun.
And he's talking about me, not you people.
Yeah,
just FYI. This is
because he has to cut out when he reset his router, and I was alone in here. I gave him some content for later to watch while he's editing. But yeah, no, it was crazy that we had never done this before with found footage, but I thoroughly enjoyed it because, like I said, when found footage is good, it's damn good. Good. Yeah, and I think that there were a lot of movies mentioned tonight that if you guys haven't gotten around to seeing them, you really, really should, myself included. There's some that I need to see. The ones that we told you are messed up that will deeply affect you. They will. Watch them, or don't if you don't have the stomach for it. Yeah. Megan is Missing is one that will fuck you up. Yeah. That's all I got.
This has been another episode of the Uneeda Horror Podcast, found footage style. Anything?
We should have done it found footage. Like we should have held our phones.
Oh God, that would have been cute for 5 minutes.
Yeah, been like. We could have fucking snotted like Heather does.
Yeah. Oh God.
Ugh.
On that note, guys, thank you for listening. Please let us know down below some of your favorite found footage movies, or if you hate the subgenre, tell me why. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
You know where to find us, and we'll see you guys next time.